We were the anti-nuclear capital of the world. I was an autistic kid. My father was a drafted United States Marine, an incredible man. I come from an incredible family. My uncle stood on Omaha Beach on D-Day. I grew up on a huge ranch out by the lake. He was a beautiful, incredible person. He was at Pendleton, combat ready, and they were human guinea pig. They were marched into the trenches in Nevada. They're called atomic veterans. He nearly died at the blast. Between 1951 and 1968, we had 300 open-air tests. Well, as different scientists started to write about this, Wallace Stegner was at the University of Utah at the time. I got to know him. Edward Abbey was hanging around there. I got to know him. I got to know all these environmentalists, and I was an environmentalist, and it was a passionate, intense subject matter there.
All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. They'll be calling you a radical. Plumgate, 311, whatever you want to call it. I call it Pacific genocide, whatever. It's fucking giant conspiratorial across all demographics. All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. They'll be calling you a radical. All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. Plumgate, 311, whatever you want to call it. I call it Pacific genocide, whatever. It's fucking giant conspiratorial across all demographics. They'll be calling you a radical. May God have mercy on all of your souls.
Nuclear power was evolving. We were promised, oh, this can't happen.
Well, good morning, all you radicals out there. Time to get out of your dogma snuggies, especially you on the coast of California. Got a lot to talk about today. Fukushima, more Fukushima, the usury economy. But I want to start off, I have some really, really great news from a personal standpoint and some really heartbreaking, I mean, really heartbreaking, horrible news from a personal standpoint. You know, we get so much bad news anymore. I'll start off with the good news. 880 days. 880 days I've been on the acute leukemia list. I came off the list yesterday. It's a miraculous turnaround my body. My doctor says, yesterday, I said, I've never seen anything like it, Kevin. He says, without a bone marrow transplant. So I really am out of the woods somewhat. I'm in the same boat as the rest of all of you are now. You know, trying to keep the leukemia, the radiation, nuclear wolf off of us. It's an amazing story. It's incredible, the intensity of my fight. And I hope that the intensity of my fight and the intimacy of my videos, I was thinking about my videos the other day, and the visual blues. Oh boy, the visual blues. It's a big day for me on a personal thing. I mean, my doctor said, Kevin, you're 18 years old again now. You have the whole world. You get a second chance. And I do, because my children are raised. I'm not married. I'm not single, just like I was when I was 18. And, it's like graduating from high school again, except a very different economy, a very different environment. And that brings me back to the really, really heartbreaking news. This is an amazing, incredible, tragic American story. We post all over that we see all over on, Google searching, Mick Jagger's girlfriend has passed. She just hung herself. The fashion designer. I didn't pay a lot of attention to it, but, I'm a fan of Jagger's. His work when he was young. Now, I go off and do this video a couple days ago, which I think it's in my top 3 or 4 best videos I've ever done. I just went with it. It was rhythmic. It broke off perfectly. The timing, the rhythm, the blues, the intimacy, the strength, the passion in that video. I'm like, wow. It's an amazing, amazing, tragic story. I've always had the physical graffiti building in my head. And this ties back to my trip a week from today. I'll be at the anniversary of the Shirtwaist Fire in Manhattan, and I'll tie this all together. As I did that video, because Mick Jagger, the Rolling Stones shot that video in the physical graffiti building. That's the same building. It's still right there. That building's there. I plan on going doing some art there, some videos there. I didn't really pay attention to who Mick Jagger's girlfriend was. You know, I'm like, whatever. Sad, horrible, tragic news. I shut up that video. About an hour and a half after I did that video, it just shows you my subconscious is sucking up information and pouring it out, and my conscious isn't relating to it. It takes time. I think that's what my art really is. My videos have been my intense fight. And it hit me, and just this thing come on. I'm like, Kevin, look who she is, you know? So I typed it back, you know. Oh, no. Oh, my God, no. Her name's Leanne. Her and I grew up together, right down the street from each other. She was an amazing, incredible young girl. It's so heartbreaking. I'll never forget it. I'm a teenager, you know, got this long blonde hair. I'm all over, you know, everybody. You know, we're out by the edge of the lake, and everybody thinks, oh, this Mormon community. But you got to realize we grew up, the county out there in the boonies, Mormon community, but Ogden's the city. And Ogden was this incredible, progressive, rich Americana city, anti-Mormon as it gets. I had this with my cousin. His name's Bootney. He was this tall, charismatic, incredible guy. He tells me one day, you know, I think I'm about 18, so maybe 17, I don't know. I can't remember for sure. And he says, hey, I met this girl. She lives right over by you. I said, who? He says, wow, I'm telling you, this girl's something else. What's her name? Her name's Luann. Luann. I says, her name's Luann. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I know that tall, incredible thing. She was adopted. She didn't fit in. Obviously, I didn't fit in. She didn't fit in the Mormon community. I'm like, oh, yeah. That young girl's a teenager. We knew. I mean, tall, long, beautiful, dynamic. I mean, you just knew. This was this flame, this light, this incredible person. I said, oh, I know her really good. She's amazing. What a mind. What a look. What a person. She didn't fit in. You knew she didn't fit. I didn't fit in. So my cousin Bootney, he always kept track of her. She told me. You know, she told everybody. She's bolting out of here. I mean, her dreams are passion. I mean, you want to talk about the quintessential American dream, this girl. I mean, she didn't come from money. She was an orphan. Adopted into this Mormon family that she obviously did not fit into. I mean, from nothing, no born into privilege, no born into nothing. I mean, nothing. That tall, long look of hers. So my cousin Bootney, who overdosed on Oxycontin 5 years ago on 3/11, March 11th. What a day it always seems to be. That time of year always seems to be. Maybe it's, you know, springtime, whatever. He always kept track of her, boy. He says, you see what she's up to now? She bolted out of here. Next thing you know, she was on a runway in Paris. One of the top runway models in the world overnight. Just amazing, but she was much, much more than that. So much more than that. She became this incredible girl that transformed into this amazing woman, this businesswoman. You got to realize, and you know, when she bolted in 1982, Mick Jagger was, you know, could have been one of the most famous people in the world. You know, here's this young girl. I mean, like I said, not born into privilege, not born into money, no opportunities, just whatever. She took that long legs of hers and that look, and she went out and she just took that dream. She was the quintessential American. I mean, that story. He'd say, can you believe her? And I'm like, wow, no. You know, we always kept track of her. I lost track of her because Bootney died, and, you know, I didn't realize that she was even dating Mick Jagger. I had no clue. I really don't care about the Mick Jagger thesis of her story. But I sure care about her story. It hit me after I put up that video. I'm like, oh, my God. It's Luann. It's her. You know, little neighbor girl down the street. Well, not even neighbor. We grew up in the county, in the boonies, out on the edge of that landscape. No. You know, I call my daughter in Manhattan, and she's like, yeah, it's heartbreaking. It's horrible. You know, I always kept her story in my mind. I'm like, wow, she was the quintessential American dream. Really, she was. We were all taught in this country. We grew up in the 60s and the 70s. This beautiful, dynamic, creative that you hold on to your dreams. We're not the English system. We're the American system. Every single person has an equal shot. You know, you can do this. You can become whatever you want to become, which was Americana. And she did it. She did it. They're tragic. It just shows you. I can relate to her society in a small way. You could just tell you her passion. That passion, that intensity for her career was everything, her entire life. They said Jagger offered to write her a check for, the entire debt that she was in. That wasn't it, My ex-wife is related to her through marriage. I know her, the adopted family, and her intense passion, that flame burned so freaking hot. To end that way, I mean, it really is really heartbreaking. And it ties into the garment district. It ties into the usury economy. She's a fashion designer. I have a lot of my girls are in that industry. It's pretty ironic, here in Ogden, Utah, where she grew up, where I grew up, we had sewers here. We had union sewers here. Sierra Lingerie, all these incredible places. These women were amazing, made incredible wealth. As the fashion industry has went, I think it ties into her tragic death so dramatically. I think she knew that she could rebound her career. Why couldn't she rebound her career? But what she was able to do from nothing. Like I said, she was born with not one dime, an orphan. Adopted. She had no life of privilege whatsoever, none. She did every single bit of it on her own. All of it. She knew she could do it again. But when you have a usury-based economy who exploits labor, the shirtwaist fire in Bangladesh and China, Bangladesh, East Pakistan, that's where the garment district of the world is. The high-end fashion houses. My daughter worked for a, high-end fashion house in Madison, and they held on. Still had their stores in Brooklyn. Still had them in there. No, and they weren't locked in the top of the building like they were in 1911. Those girls jumped to their deaths. She hung herself. I've been thinking about her for the last 48 hours. I drove over by her house, the house that she grew up in right down the road where I lived. In those days, it was, a few miles down on the edge of that lake. I remember her as a teenage girl. And I remember, wow, my God, what a person. Born with it. Wolf spirit, incredible wolf spirit. I was thinking about the youth. They call them millenniums, the 33 and under. They say they're just live with their parents or whatever. They don't get married. They're not politically active. They're whatever. Yeah, those wolves were born in the cage. They know no better. She knew better. I know better. Her tragic end of her life, the American story, it really is an American story. Like when we were kids, just kids, teenagers, but you knew it then with her. I mean, her story is so amazing. And her end, and I put up that video, and it was an hour and a half later. I think it could be my best video ever. The visual blues. People talk about my videos and my art, my ways, my passion, my intensity. I knew that my art, my ways, my information had to be exactly opposite. It had to be the pure counter to what we are. What are we here? We're a facade. We're a giant facade. I mean, you look at that. The people sitting on a news desk lying to us, diluting down the truth. CNN, Fox News, bloggers. Mine had to be intimate. I used my real name. I let you in my house, right down to freaking every inch of my body, my soul, central line hanging into my hospital room fighting for leukemia. My intensity. It had to be me in a very, very personal way, because it had to be the opposite of what the problem is in culture in America, a very impersonal way. No intimacy whatsoever, a facade. The garment district, the last stand of Manhattan. As I tried to organize 100 years ago, 3 years ago on the 100th anniversary, I was there in Manhattan, right there for Megan Rice's dad. I'll be there all day. That hallowed sacred ground, it all ties back to usury. Now her stuff, everybody's stuff, being made all the way. And it's not just Walmart factories over there anymore. It's the highest end of the highest end. You're buying a $4,000 bra or a $17,000 freaking scarf around your neck. It's still made by slaves now in Bangladesh. It is no different than it was. No different whatsoever. No different than 1910 in Manhattan. Those girls were locked in the top. The girls are locked in now in Bangladesh. So the business model of a girl like this, an incredible flame, I mean, this brilliant genius is, it breaks down all barriers to entry to the point that it's opposite of barriers to entry. It creates nothing but barriers to entry. What it creates the usury-based economy, the old monarchy system, that anybody can do any business they want, any time they want. Just have a little bit of money. Make a phone call to China, make a phone call to Bangladesh, and email, what do you need? Oh, yeah, we exploit slaves, and boom, you're in business. It's like contractors now in the United States. Broke down all barriers to entry. You don't have to spend years now learning skills and trades. Yeah, well, I go back to my fucking trial and my incredible passion. She knew me then. I was riding around with my wool on the back and my freaking shirt off and my long blonde hair. She rode around in that truck with me when we were young. Out plastering. I started plastering at 16 years old. Am I going to go back to that passion? No, they hijacked it and they ruined it. Because now it's a bunch of car sales. Oh, I'm going to be a stucco contractor. I'm going to be a rock mason. I was a rock mason. I spent decades perfecting my craft. I was a derivative arbitrage specialist on Wall Street. Decades perfecting my craft. Grew up in the future pits of Ogden, Utah, standing on the floors with my grandparents and my father and my uncles, watching them trade cattle futures in cash in this dynamic, incredible, amazing place. She saw it all. She got it. She knew she didn't fit in. She bolted and became this incredible, hot, burning flame. What a tragic way for it to end. In a usury-based style economy. So now a construction industry, the restaurant industry, no barriers to entry because you don't have to spend times to learn a craft, a skill, a trade. That's all gone. They backdoored it all. Allow you to pay cash. So instead of getting one really skilled, good plasterer, a 40-year-old plasterer who's been in these trades for 34 years, union scale about $60 an hour. That's what my guys made. Oh, and they were worth every freaking penny of it. Skilled craft. Amazing skilled craftsmen. Businessmen who got it. People that came up in the trades, spent their dues, paid their dues, worked, perfected their craft, not just in the art of the plaster, but in the art of the business, in the skill of the business, the integrity, understanding that your workforce is everything that you were, how you treated them, how they treated the community, the taxes they paid back into the community as they become the fabric of the community. That's what we lost. We lost all that. Now you got hair-sprayed, fat-ass, hamburger-eating pieces of dog shit who have no skills whatsoever except for exploiting other human beings. And you could take every single industry and business in this country from A to Z. That's what we've turned into. So all those things that we were taught as children, her and I, we grew up in the same community, in the same dynamic, by our school teachers, by our parents, by our uncles, by our mentors, all our mentors, scout leaders, church leaders, I mean, A to Z. Hard work, integrity, honesty. She believed, she knew. She knew and she did it as I did it. But they backdoored all that. They pulled the rug out from underneath us all. They all. Bill Walmart Clinton. I love how people can still support him and call him and make some kind of comparison to John Kennedy. He's the opposite of John Kennedy. Literally the opposite of John Kennedy. Barack Obama, literally the opposite of Martin Luther King. Literally opposite. I mean, in all detail, in all way, in all fashion. They called themselves, these guys, who we were starving for another John Kennedy after Bobby was Kennedy. We've been starving. A masquerade party, a fraud, a facade. So I've been the opposite of the facade. The visual blues? Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. There's my fight with leukemia. You know, I get a second chance. I get to be 18. But when we were 18, when I graduated from high school, it wasn't, oh, what career are you going to pick, Kev? Not a career, which career? What you going to do? The opportunities were vast. No debt. We had spiritual leaders, integrity leaders, people that they would not put up with this shit. They did not believe in the usury laws. Utah, the state usury law, I think, was 6% above prime. You know, prime's less than 1%. That's the maximum interest rate anybody could charge. Now it's buy here, pay here. Our attorney general convicted of taking bribes by buy here, pay here. These hairsprayed masquerade parties, the facade. So you get a crew of hungry brown people from the South, which is illegal to pay them cash. You set up a name and a place and a business in Manhattan or L.A., and you're getting your same garments with a different tag on them from a slave based in Bangladesh, just like Manhattan in my girls walked in. There are people in Manhattan, I'll show you these people. They go on with a hot light. They go all right up to you and flash across your body with a hot light. And the hot light will show blood in your brand new garments. You're just, you know, any clothing you got on. I don't care if you're wearing the high-end designer or you got a freaking ragtag t-shirt from freaking Walmart. They got blood in them. How can a brand new garment have done it? Because the sweatshop conditions that exist. Remember Kathleen Lee Gifford, how they went after her? That wasn't that long ago. Remember Walmart used to advertise Made in America? Fuck. What a bunch of fucking, I mean, you look at, I mean, the top 1%, you want to talk about Illuminati and the 1%? I mean, look up the Waltons, and I don't mean John Boy. Wow, they're evil. They are evil. Has money turned them in evil? Were they born into bloodlines? And no, we created these fucking monsters. And then people on the other side of the dynamic, the dichotomy of the truth, wiped us out. It pulled the rug out from under me. That's how I broke my back. That's how I severed my tongue. I come home from Wall Street. I watched Wall Street being hijacked. I watched it. You know, there was plenty of people that did great work in the hedge fund industry, real hedge fund industry, not this phony, lying, gambling bullshit they created, this house of fucking cards, this facade, this piece of shit Greenspan, the greatest terrorist in human history, 0% interest rate. You went back just 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 30, and you told people that? $20 trillion in really debt? So-called free trade, global trade? Really? Global trade. What a foul. America was founded on anti-global trade, anti-usury. That's what the Revolutionary War was. It was a tariff war. Sam Adams and the boys dressed up like Indians and threw the tea off. It was a tariff war. Hamilton, the first thing this country had was the Coast Guard collecting duties. You want to freaking exploit, not just on a moral way, but on an economic way. When are people going to wake up and realize there are two things that completely failed us? And the baby wolves born in their cage? Well, why could they come out? Every time they try to come out. You know, think about what happened at the Boston Marathon. By the way, don't you love that date that happened? Yeah. Paul Revere's Midnight Ride. Same day. In Boston. Martial law declared? Absolutely martial law. I love all the gun toting complex. Oh, yeah, come get my gun. I didn't see you guys pulling out your guns in Boston. I certainly I'm hiding underneath the fucking table, putting lipstick on high heels, just like Ted Nugent. You know, as I said to him, you know, he pops off and makes all these crazy lunatic, you know, and don't get me wrong. I really cannot stand Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton, either. I mean, I'm sort of disgusted with them both. But when he makes freaking comments like that about her, you know, a draft-dodging scumbag piece of shit that he is, I mean, let's get real. He's a draft-dodger because he shit himself. Said he couldn't control about piss. You know, I ever run it, I'll make you piss his pants. And by the way, I'll tell you another great story that ties into that scumbag. One of his wives, same here. She grew up right here. Oh, good Lord. Any guy that would marry that, disturbing beyond belief. They're frauds. America, home of the fucking cowards. They don't stand up for anybody or anything. They're facade. They're a facade. Fake rock on your house. Lick and stick and call yourself the Mason. Fake stucco over styrofoam. Paint. It's paint. It's paint over styrofoam. Is that how I got leukemia? Tearing those fucking monsters apart? Maybe. Or Fukushima raining over us? Yeah. Probably a combination of both. My predisposition to it. When I got sick, there was a huge group of us that people that knew her, that we all grew up together. She went to Roy High, I went to Weaver High, right there. The railroad tracks go across Causeway. That's the boundary. Right over by our house, boom, boom. And we all knew each other. We were so communal. Everybody was. Everybody knew each other. People were happy. They had parents that worked 40 hours a week, one person. We were allowed to spell. We were in the parks, drinking kegs all over, having fun in our vehicles, doing things with, making out with each other, freaking smoking weed with each other, drinking weed with each other, Hey, Kev, right in front of her house where she grew up. Yeah, I had one of my, I don't know, with my dad or my uncle, one of our vehicles. I don't know, drunk in the ditch, heathen kid, like which we all were. One cop out there pulls up. Oh my God, Kevin, what have you done now? I don't know. I just slid off the road. It's snowing. Got a couple young girls in the car with me. Hey, you got a chain? Yeah. Hook it on. Hook's on my dad or my uncle's truck. I can't remember which it was. And, I just hotwire and take him. That was just the way it was. No biggie. He pulls me out. You better get your ass home, boy. I'm going to follow you. And you know what? Any more of this bullshit, I'm going to talk to your dad. And you better get these two girls home. Right now, I'm going to talk to their dad. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Because we knew. I'm like, okay. But it was like this. They would look right at you. Hey, Kev, come on, man. Try to do a little better. You're all right. They allowed us to flaw. That's what young males do. We make mistakes. So what do we do with the young population now? We don't let that flame burn, like her flame burned, like so many of our flames burned. They don't allow our flames to burn. They douse them out very young, very young. They fucking suppress, they repress, they oppress. And we take it. Like a bunch of fucking caged baby wolves. Not me, fuckers. Not me, never. I think about her and I think about all these incredible, I've been involved with some amazing, amazing females in my life. I mean, you look at my daughters, they surely didn't get those looks from me. I think about it, not just physically, mentally, dynamic, incredible. And why they all quit me. They always quit me. I'll tell you why they quit me. To stay with a person like me, who stands on moral ground, who stands as an environmentalist, who stands on my integrity belief system, and I have never wavered. I have never wavered from a child. Never. Never. When I was on Wall Street, I have never wavered, which is the opposite of popular and contemporary culture. Completely the opposite. I used to drive around with a freaking bumper sticker on my truck back then. Said, hungry? Eat your foreign car. I was one of those guys that understood the user economy, understood Hamilton, understood Lincoln, understood McKinley, understood FDR, understood the Kennedys. I remember the day Bobby was killed. He was right here in this town, right over here, right by where I'm at, shaking his hand. And 4 days later, he gives that incredible, well, it could be one of the greatest speeches of all time. Announcing to the world that Martin Luther King killed. And people think that people didn't riot. Oh, my God. You should have seen the riots in this town. I remember them. Wow, what an incredible, passionate, intense time. But it was over. The passion ended. He wrote that song, "Oh, the music died," that phony piece of shit. He copyrights that word, American Pie. Take your American Pie, stick it in your fucking ass. That's what we've become. We become these people that we're on the winning team. But here's the problem. with the people that think they're on the winning team. As this funnel gets tighter and tighter and tighter, it goes from 1% to 1/10 of 1% to 1,000th of 1/10 to 1/1,000,000th of one. They're eating their own, just like her industry, eating their own. Broke down all barriers. Anybody, hairsprayed masquerade party, throw a phony tag on, have some freaking slaves in Asia. Apple Steve Chinese job. It would only cost $4. You know, on the Bay Area, go get on your fucking Google fucking buses. You know, fucking Google. Why do these industries suck up? Because we don't enforce antitrust law. What's antitrust law? Because these companies become, when you funnel up and get this tight, it destroys and people kill themselves. Because the equation becomes uncomputable. The equation ends. It's an impossible. So you do all these things that we were taught, like her, like I, like so many of us, we were taught. Integrity, hard work, fairness among your employees, fairness among your people, you know, a fair gig, which comes down to moral integrity. You fail. Not only you fail, you probably end up killing yourself. That's what happens, because to be a passionate, intense of what you do, especially an industry like she was in, like I was in with the plaster and the hawk and trowel going across the wall. It's about art. It's about passion. You know, that was her life, all of it, every bit of it, every single fabric. You know, the rest of it is all window dressing. Is concrete. When that is jerked out the rug, the American dream is over. They ended the American dream and turned it back into the feudal system. It is neo-epic ultra-feudalism. And people cannot see it and don't understand because they live in a facade, and we become this culture of hate and this culture of death because the playing field is so skewed that you have no shot. So people go on the defense. And how do they play defense? They become haters because we are an ultra-neo-competitive people gone amok. Well, when you're competing, March Madness today, as our school, these kids, I know Randy Ray, Weber State, a 16 seed today, tomorrow. 16s never beat a 1 seed. The equation, the field is so skewed that you have no shot. So people want to compete. They used to compete physically. You go back to the 1970s when her and I were teens. I mean, I think back at the girls, all of them. My God, what beautiful people. I mean, you go back and look at film and video in the 70s and 60s, physically, look at people. Look at them. Wow. Incredibly beautiful. Not obese, not fat. I mean, people have transformed. Look at people. They're ugly. They're hideous. I mean, if you was to walk in a grocery store in the 1970s or just anywhere in America in these places and just look, people were beautiful, really beautiful, inside and out. They were working 40-hour work weeks, one person. The average American worker was making $106,000 in today's dollar. The average American worker is making much less than $20,000. It's like this bullshit unemployment rate they throw out, 6.5. The unemployment rate in this country is over 30%. We have a cash-based economy that is bigger than the other economy. Maids, casino workers, construction workers, any service base is being paid in cash illegally by the hairsprayed masquerade, just like our industry. Slaves. I stood in that cage in Tiananmen Squares, at Times Square with the Tiananmen Square exiles, protesting Dr. Wayne's incarceration for 11 years. You know, drinking blood. And that's what I plan on doing. I'm going to do some radical activism in symphony with we'll say our prayers to those 149, 159 girls who smacked the tape that they either burned to death or jumped to my death. This country was aghast. This country is like, oh no. People, Al Smith of all people, changed the world. Does it take tragedy? Yeah, but we don't even care about tragedy because we're a hater culture. The last one in Bangladesh, I think, killed 1,300 Walmart factories. But they're not just Walmart factories. Who's the problem? Me and my daughter talk about this a lot. I know a lot of people in the fashion. I mean, the houses in Milan, and Manhattan has become the new Italy. You know, as we used to travel to Europe, you know, women and people that had money, that's because our dollar was so strong. So strong. So that's what Americans did. We traveled the streets and turned Europe into a cultural theme park. Now we've turned Manhattan into a cultural theme park, the opposite, because the dollar got thrashed. Your wealth got crushed by the science fiction, fairy tale economics, the Ayn Rand fairy teller. Ayn Rand was a great writer, beautiful writer. I love her books, but she was a science fiction writer, like L. Ron Hubbard. She surely was no economist. And Alan Greenspan used to follow her around Manhattan and tug on her chair. He was obsessed. He was sick. He was an ideologue and nutcase who understood nothing about economics in the theater. An academician gone, ideologue gone completely insane. Oh, yeah, I remember the day he was named. Wow. Fed completely hijacked. Oh, just like Congress, just like culture. They hate our culture. It all ties back. Why do you think I went all in Fukushima? Because I'm an anti-nuclear from way back. Utah again. We knew the thesis. We all grew up here as little kids. We knew. Stegner was here. Edward Abbey was here. Carol Gallagher. She's still alive. She's around. You know, all these people, these anti-nuclears who understood the environment at the top of the heap. This is the issue that can change the world. It should have changed. When Fukushima happened, 3/11 3 years ago, part of me was actually happy. I'm like, oh my God. Inside, I'm like, we finally broke their fucking back. It's over. Not this time. They're not pulling Chernobyl off this time. This incredible mass murder of fucking Chernobyl that goes on to this day. At this time, we have social media. And I knew that I had to be in cancer. And I knew that I had to be. And I went all in. Did I ever have any inclination that I would get leukemia in an acute fashion? The survival rate of the disease I have is less than 3%. I am the first guy in the United States they know of, documented, who willingly had the bone marrow transplant, willingly did not have the bone marrow transplant. Automatically, they heavy RC. You know, chemo only works on a very small percentage of people. It's a Hail Mary. I mean, I wouldn't freaking recommend it to my freaking worst enemy. It is horrific. Now, there's some comments around that, you know, maybe some of these oligarchs and some of these hierarchy need to get fucking sick and need to get cancer-free. The Uncle Tom's are covered up. And people say, no, I wouldn't wish that on my... You know, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy, but they're probably right. That probably does need to happen, and it's going to happen. They think they're above. You know, you think about what takes power away from these evil monsters in history. It's not pretty. And it's not passive, and it sure wears no hairspray, and it's not fake rock stuck on the wall. It's my rock-splitting hammer going through those big fucking granite stones here and splitting them in half, and fragments fucking bolting off. I had a scar on my arm from one when I was about 18, 19. It shot through my arm. The bullet went through my fucking arm from that rock so cleanly that a little drop of blood comes out. Got one in my freaking, right in the center of the thing. A lot of these old rock masons missing an eye. Authentic, intense, raw, passionate, the reality, fuck the facade. It's like I show up to these environmental parties, you know. Oh, we're setting up a press conference down at signing off. Oh, look at that. Well, I'm doing all the work from my fucking room, fucking leaking all the information out because people understand. People right up the get. The first video I did on Fukushima was like, oh my God, wow, this guy's the real deal. Oh my God, because I am opposite, and they are so sick of the passive, aggressive failure of 40 years of nuclearism and science fiction economics. The usury-based economy is a giant failure. Until we come out, Ross Perot was right. Until we come out and realize that nuclearism is a giant, the greatest failure in human history. And we don't recognize it. People say, oh, it takes hundreds of years to clean it up. Absolutely. Right here in Utah is where all the nerve gas from the 1914, 100 years ago. I mean, the massive, giant amounts. That's been around for over 100 years. The world made a conscious decision that we refuse to use it, and anybody that uses it is going to pay the fucking price. We will not use it. So they brought it all to the West Desert of Utah. They've been commissioning it out there. They've been getting rid of it since the 30s. That'll leak out there to kill the shit out of the Indians. You know, I'm friends with a lot of the Navajos here, by the way, the Navajo complex, which I really am tight with. My mom worked at Intermountain Indian School. I mean, I can really get into that beautiful people. I mean, I have photographs from the 70s, the Navajos. I mean, they went the same way we went. You look at the Navajos, they were everywhere in this town. The Navajos were, talk about beautiful. I remember those Navajo girls. Oh my God. I mean, I would just go, oh. The boys too, that long, straight, black, beautiful hair, the beads, the color, they were not obese, they were spectacular. I mean, just physically stunning people. And now, like us, we're obese, we're ugly. We're an ugly people, and we reflect that as an ugly people. Because all the hairspray, all the makeup, the fake breasts, the Botox, the Balco, all of it, you can't hide the ugly that we are. Because we are self-indulged, thinking we're on a hater culture. Where's the compassion? Where's the fucking love? Megan Rice. I go back to Megan Rice, and I think about her every day. I'm like, she's got to be absolutely heartbroken. This incredible, powerful activist, this amazing, the lineage of Martin Luther King. She lays her life and gladly gives it to Greg and Michael, and I know because I've talked to their people in a personal way. You know, they really expected a big point out. What they did took a lot beyond a lot of balls to go into Y-12 and and they went into Y-12 just like the nerve gas out here. Go try to get into the nerve gas when they get rid of the nerve gas here. You ain't getting in. I guarantee you that. I mean, I've worked out there. You want to talk about the search process that goes through. You know, they supply your tools, whatever, rightfully so. What's in there? What's in Y-12? Are you kidding? Oh, I mean, plutonium. There's a radio talk show host, moron here. Moron. These morons here are so illiterate. You know, he's been talking about your plutonium viewers. And here we live in the cancer capital of the world, you know. Are they wishing cancer? I don't wish cancer on them, but I'll tell you what, some of these fucking people that fucking in denial who support, there you go, Uncle Tom. Uncle Tom. There's no doubt in my mind a lot of these key players are going to be Latino and go down the same way. And you think about Steve Chinese Jobs. You think about throwing fucking hard karma on him fucking self. He was a fucking prick, by the way. Barack Obama to Steve Chinese Jobs. Thanks, called him to the situation, to the White House right after his election. Steve, what about bringing the jobs back to the United States? Let me tell you, Barack, once you get it, they left and they're never coming back. Well, I got news. The only thing never coming back is Steve Chinese Jobs and all the rest of us. Oh, they'll come back. There'll come a time when people are not going to deal with the usury-based economy. They're going to wake up and realize, you know, yeah, the so-called millennium, crushed down or repressed fuck. What are they supposed to do? We see what they do. Step out of line. Do the things we did when we were fucking kids. They will taser you and put you in a prison. Utah here, oh, what they do to them? Whoa. You want to talk about repressors. White-collar crime is so legal here. I mean, it's not just legal. It is encouraged through the Mormon Church. The Mormon Church practices, I think they have seminars on robbing little old ladies. You know, usury. I hear, pay here. And they don't need goons anymore. They have the court systems as their goons. Hairspray, the new wigs. It's a fucking masquerade party. America's a fucking masquerade party in epic denial. And I can prove it. For years and years, all these studies that have gone out for years and years, the top number one thing that people on earth are reluctant not to discuss in a poll, in private, in public, with each other, in an intimate setting with friends, it's always been sexuality. It passed several years ago. It's their debt. The average American's balance sheet is over $100,000 to the bad. That's on paper. I proved in my PhD to be homeless right now is better than to be working class. That's a horrible. The average person in this country makes much less than $20,000 a year. Much less. Now, the government employees are hijacked and they think they're on it. Yeah, that complex. Think about the government. Oh my God, it's so corrupt and so grotesque. You think, and not just at the federal level, on the local level. On a local level, they keep raising your property tax, and you're all worried about the national. I mean, you don't even think about your local corruption that's going on Balco. These people are making so much money. I mean, it's ridiculous. You don't see the mean come down. And people are willing to pay people cash. It's illegal. It's immoral. It breaks down the fabric, just like her death. Just like the shirtwaist girls. Slaves don't pay taxes. They don't participate in the community. So we have this underground of 40 million hungry people. Is it their fault? Fuck no! It's the exploiters, the hairspray fat hamburger fucking prick who has no skill, who has no game, who has no sex, who has nothing. You know, I remember her when we were young, and I was young, and my cousin Bootney, who overdosed on Oxycontin accidentally on 3/11/2009, a tragic end to his incredible life. Her and he were they were very close. It is amazing to me. Why have we not banned Oxycontin like we did Quaaludes in the 70s? People were dropping dead from them here. No, big pharma out of control, all fucking industry, but we're the fucking ones that support it because we've refused to stand up. My art has to be completely countercultural to... I've really thought about it. I finally come up with the word yesterday, thinking about this whole dichotomy, the visual blues. That's what I'm going to start calling it. It really is the visual blues. You know, and I think about Jagger, you know, a lot of the Stones were really hard-edged blues. They really are hard-edged blues. I mean, hard. You know, like I said, when we were kids, her and I, Jagger, you know, one of the famous people, and then the story comes out, oh, heard that, Mick Jagger's girlfriend, Mick Jagger's, who gives a fuck? A person, an incredible burning flame, an incredible American iconic fucking story that we used to be. I think her death's iconic. I think it really is iconic. The American dream is over. You know, all those years we had tariffs, this, you know, you came, give us your coal, give us your wheat, give us your tire, give us your huddled masses. That's what America was. It was a fair playing field. At least we tried. Yeah, we had so much, fuck, the Civil War, the slavery, everything that we fucking did, that, you know, all the abuses, yeah, but we always had men who stood up and fought against them. Always, always, yeah, did they have to get killed? And then, yeah, they died. They were killed, but they did it anyway. America was the beacon light for a person like her, an orphan with no privilege, no, just take off. I'm going to do this. My mind's set on it. You know, I can do it. If they can do it, I can do it. I don't have to be a fucking royal. She did it. Not anymore. Why do you think the baby wolves sleep in their cage and they don't ride on the freaking streets? They don't ride in the universities. They know the big freaking gig's over. Pour out from underneath them. The American dream's over. It's fucking over. You're fucking living in that fucking American dream house that you're over leveraged and 0% interest rate. Go fucking refi it again. Yeah, got some fake, corrupt, fucking lying scumbag appraisal that tied in with the bank. The credit scores, that's my favorite one. The credit scores, the banks, and the whole fucking usury complex are all one and the same. You don't, Warren Buffett, happiness is not knowing what your fucking credit score is and not giving a fuck. Well, that's easy for that fucker to say. You know, it's so fucking easy for wealth to stand up on their fucking high horse and say, oh, we're in the fucking club, and look down and preach to us. Fuck them. Fuck every fucking one of them. Fucking the musicians, the artists, every fucking one of them. Take their money and stick it in their fucking ass, including fucking Jagger. Fucking all of them. Oh, fucking Sir Paul, he's a knight now. Fuck you. We don't fucking like knights. Nothing was more quintessential American to hate knighthood. To hate fucking all this hood is a bullshit. Not now. Oh, we're going to be a royal. Look, we're going to go on American Idol. Yay, yay. Yeah, look, we're going to be the next Carrie Underwood. 1 in a million. Yeah, we're the 1 in a million fucking lottery economy. 1 in a million. Okay, you go be 1 in a fucking million. When America was the opposite, it was everyone participated. Everyone got communal in the parks. We sexed together. We loved together. We drank together. We worked together. We bonded together. We were we the people, not anymore. It's I. John Steinbeck said it. We went from, it's obvious, you know, he says, I love it, and boy, can I relate to him. Because I did that 1,000 gig on 1,000 days, Tim Shell, at the Livermore Lab. If you're ever in need, go to the poor. Always go to the poor, because the rich will do nothing. Oh boy, did I learn my lesson that way, as I was wiped out financially. It was the very underprivileged and poor that have come to my side and my aid and stood by me. We simply, the greats of wrath, we simply went from the we to the I. John Steinbeck. I've said this even long before Fukushima happened. We simply went from the we to the I, back to the we. Now we're the capital I. Great, big, giant capital I. It's a horrible way to live, and it's felt. Not a commentary, a documentary on Balco. The facts are the facts. We went to the usury-based economy. We opened up free fucking trade, supposedly free trade. Made it moral and just to use slaves. The garment district gone. All the things the shirtwaist girls build up and fought for, their deaths, they were marching in the streets before that fire happened. The cops were cracking their face. There were young girls being hung in jails in New York, just like they tried to do with the occupiers. So I'm going back to New York, and I'm going to fucking boot it up. I'm going to restart it up by my fucking self. Just like I stood in Times Square, in the cage, in front of CNBC, walking through, made national television with my sign, PU is bigger than GE. PU is bigger than I. PU is much bigger than I. I'm alive. I survived a disease that I should have never fucking did. I got a second chance. I'm 18 again. I get to pick and choose my career. Oh no, there are no to choose from. I will struggle like the rest of you. I will struggle to keep fucking radiation off me. I will struggle to fucking keep my body healthy through the food chain. I will struggle to find fucking way to make ends fucking meet. But I sure will not fucking fall into the usury debt-based fucking cycle from hell. I tell people, I used to tell students, walk away from all your kids. Tell them to fuck off. Oh, they'll sue you. Oh, yeah. Unless your name's Mike Lee. Your house gets foreclosure on here in Utah for $600. Sitting United States Senator, house foreclosed on who chirps fiscal responsibility. A facade, a fraud from hell. Tell them to all fuck off. Take your debt and say, hey, have your fucking mortgage, have your fucking bullshit cars. I'm going to shop at fucking thrift stores and buy used stuff that was made in America. Hungry eat your foreign car slaves. I'm not going to fucking use my Apple shit. Fuck that Apple junk. They can have it. Their Foxconn nets fucking scratching around them. But we're okay. The baby wolf born in the cage. Not me. Not me. Not me. And I don't care if it's 1 in a million. The 1%, don't you love how they call it the 99%? It's the opposite. The 99% are the problem. They're fucking sheep. Occupy had all kinds of energy. All kinds of great energy. It was right. Just like the election of Barack Obama was right for progressive, the next John Kennedy, Martin Luther King. Yeah, he had the complexion, that's all he had. Nothing African American, nothing struggle about him, nothing true about him. A fraud. Yeah, a masquerade party. Skull and crossbones? Oh, hell yes. On Balco. Masons lost all the power? Oh, yeah, they got no power. You think about the Masonics, they got no power. Justice and moderation? Not now. The elite powers, the control freaks are so fucking out of control. Now they're eating their own and killing their own. 3/11/11, Popism died. Over. Popism is dead. We quit fighting. We lost all morality. We lost integrity. We lost intimacy among each other. We have no compassion. We have no love. We have no joy. Dorothy Day, a revolution of the heart. And think about the people that were protesting. Think about the great baby boomer protests in the anti-war movement that got co-opted. But think about them. We had full employment in this country. That's why we had that. Because people were working 40 hours. Because you had opportunities. We had wealth. We had money. This country was rich because people bled and died for that. They fought on union picket fucking lines. They stood up to fucking wealth and fucking power. Yeah, the unions got corrupt, no doubt. That's what fucking wealth and power does. But does that mean we quit because you have some bad fucking apples? So we throw the baby out with the fucking bathwater? Yeah, we threw the baby out with the bathwater. Baby fucking landed on those fucking streets right there, the Brown building. Smack! Those babies. Those 15, 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old girls. I wrote a poem about them 2 days before 3/11/11 happened. 3/11/11 changed everything? Oh. On Balco. Changed the whole equation. nuclear fission for the first time in human history. Want to go in denial about it? Go right the fuck ahead. Fukushima's not going away. It is not going away. It is a story that will grow and grow. Chernobyl's not going away. But this is different than Chernobyl. Much, much different. It's horrible and rash and the murder. You think about the Ukraine and you think about that part of Russia. God, what prices that they paid. You want to talk about no pain. My God. The famine. Stalin's fucking reign. World War II. Lost 28 million men. And Chernobyl. People don't understand the death zone of Chernobyl. The horrible death. When I was in the hospital, fighting for my life, a little young, beautiful girl from Ukraine in there, 22 years old. She was going to do that video with central line hanging out of our chest that I did in Symphony on Pussy Riot Day. Because she died. I got a second chance. Really, it is such a big day for me. Yeah, start over. Clean slate. I don't have a lot of debt. I really don't. I have a small little house payment, but I don't have any income. I don't have a career anymore. I don't have anything. But kind of get a second chance to peel that onion all the way back. Get stark ass naked and start over. I mean, who gets that? Who gets that? I think about everybody who died in the hospital with me, our whole group, Paul, Tracy, Carla, all of us. When I was in the hospital, I kept my vlog and I kept my activism going. And the whole time I've traveled all over the country, I'm like, Kevin, why are you doing this? And I'm like, if you spit out the other end and everybody hates everything that you did and you don't accomplish one damn thing, but you get the gift of life again, would you take it? I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it right fucking now. Deal, where do I sign? Where do I make the deal? People say, I prayed to God and I made deals with God. I didn't do that. I did not do that. But inside my soul, I promised myself, as Paul and Carla and all of them passed, my childhood friends, all our us little kids, as they pass, and I watch them pass, these beautiful, beautiful people. So much death in Utah. Denial, 350 open-air tests in Nevada. Fukushima rained on us. We all got sick at the same time. How can I ever forget them? The orange that I wear on my wristbands, my hat. Emotional? Beyond emotional. Raw, organic. You say I used to eat, sleep, drink it. Watching my father die at that west sun on his back, sitting at the kitchen table, watching him have these incredible seizures, this beautiful person. Watching the music freaking be stole. Watching his death. Watching Paul and Carla and all these people's horrible, horrible deaths. Their beautiful, beautiful lives. That hot, beautiful grass fire burning across the plain. That's what we do this time of year out there. We burn the grasses and we have these hot, beautiful flames just go across the landscape. That's what she was. That's what all these people were. And the flame burns out just like that. I can't forget that. I'm just like you are now. Every one of you. We're all the same now. I'm no sicker than you're sick now. Fukushima can kill any one of us at any time. Nuclearism. We can have another nuclear disaster in a metropolitan area at any time. Any time. It's not a matter of if, it's when. And anywhere on Earth. These things are all over Earth. We don't need them. Solar. The technology is so outdated, just like science fiction economics. The usury-based economy. It didn't work. It did not. It didn't work in England in the 1700s, in the 1600s. So we came to a new land, and we said, "Now we're going to do a different economic thesis." Stay tuned. See you in Manhattan live. My show next Tuesday will be late from that hallowed ground. And let's reboot this fucking thing. Let's not all give up. Let's live. Let's live. Stay tuned.
All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. They'll be calling you a radical.